Hey guys, Barbershop is today's theme with the Lather games, and so I grabbed a razor with a barber pole handle. I only can find one of my straights that is honed properly, and so otherwise I would have brought a straight. I thought that would have been very appropriate for a barbershop themed shave. But I did grab this Pro 48 Omega, and it's kind of a barber style one that I've seen barbers use. Long bristles, and it can be pretty soft. I've had it soaking for maybe an hour, and because it needs it. Actually, it's pretty comfortable. Not very different from my 198. That guy is still very scratchy. This guy's had a lot less uses. Even if I constrict him where he's got a lower loft, he's still more comfortable than the other one. That's the way it is. All right, the soap for today. Barbershop is the theme. Barbershop, if you don't know, if you're new to this hobby, barbershop is a theme, a genre of soaps that, there are some herbs and spices and florals that all are mixed in together to kind of give that type of scent. Sometimes a little note of a powdery nature as well, to kind of copy the soaps that have been used in barbershops for a long time. Back when they would use a straight razor on you. Barbershops nowadays don't in general because of hygiene, and so they would use a shavette on you right now, a replaceable blade, straight razor type shaped device. And so I'm really glad that I got a soap lot a while back that had Town Barber in it. And this is the older label by Chiseled Face, and that's made by Grumatorium. And I'm really happy about this one. Great scent to it. It's a barbershop with a little bit of a spicy, not herby, Western twist. Maybe a little bit of leather, something like that. I did not like it too much at first. I got a sample of it, but my nose was early in my shaving. I'd smelled several soaps, but I didn't know that later on I would get to really enjoy and appreciate the nuances and the mild nature of the barbershop type soaps. I do now really enjoy them. And the blade, since this is the 95 stainless steel 95 gap, which is their higher gap, timeless. And I wanted to try a blade I hadn't tried in that razor before. It's an aggressive razor. I could shave with it every day, but it's kind of aggressive. And so I picked my kind of go-to budget blade that's not quite as crazy sharp as some of my other normal go-to blades that I've already tried in this razor. And so we are looking at the Wilkinson sword. Now, if it says it's a Gillette product on the blade, or you can see on the wrapper here, and also on the little cardboard box that they'll come in, if it says China or India on there, then it's the Indian version of the Wilkinson sword. There's also some German versions. Now those, I believe, I just was reading, and it said those were made by Schick and Persona, kind of the parent company. Energizer, I believe, is the parent company of Schick and Persona, and so then it won't say Gillette on them. And those are the German ones, and they do shave a little bit differently for some people. I think I've tried them both, and I like them. I don't know that I could tell too much difference. Maybe I'll try it again some other time. And so these are the Indian ones. Very inexpensive blades. These are ones where I was going to buy 20 of them on Amazon, and it was just a couple dollars more to get 100. I thought, why not? So I did. That was the one case where I hadn't even tried a blade, and I bought 100 of them, and that's because it was just so cheap. All right, so let's put in the blade. This is the Timeless. This is the Scalloped base plate. And here's the top cap. I have used my 68, which is a very smooth Timeless base plate, but I have not used the 95 in the Lather games. And so I am using different razors every day, unless I make some kind of clerical error. Should be able to do it just fine. Nice thing about the Timeless, it's got these rails that you may have seen on the bottom side of the top cap there. Keep that blade perfectly in alignment. No need to check it. This is the this is the Scalloped base plate, and this is, of course, as you can see, the Scalloped top cap. It has a plain top cap as well. Enjoyable razor. All right, the blade is in. This is the second use of the blade. One of the problems that I have with this brush is the loft is so long. Sometimes when you're moving it around in the soap, the loft will just kind of flex around and the tips will stay in one place. And so narrower soaps, soap containers like maybe Soap Commander, something like that, I like to hoke out with a 1/4 teaspoon measure, press it into the bottom of my lather bowl. That way I know I'm picking up enough soap. All right, but we'll just do it from the tub. And before we do that, my usual habit, throw some water on my face. If I feel that the bristles are flexing too much when I'm loading, I might switch my grip and have my fingers around. I've seen a barber do that on a YouTube video. Shake out most of the water. Long bristles will hold a lot of water. I've seen a barber reach down and grab around the bristles to kind of restrict the movement of the brush. All right, let's do a 30-second load. We're gonna roll around to 30 in 2 more seconds here. There we go. Yeah, this looks like he's moving around enough to gather a good amount of soap. So we'll just keep with that. Slight pressure to create a little bit of a splay. And that's something you may want to vary. That's something you can play with. Some people just barely like to touch the tips to their soap. That may affect your load time. Some people like to press a lot in there. So you can pick. Some people like to put a little water in the soap, and that's 30 seconds. So that is what 30 seconds of soap looks like on the brush. What a great scent. All right, so we will take my Roger Quintero design lather bowl, start whipping it up. It's a 3D printable bowl. Files are online. There's a link to them in the description of this video. A lot of people really like this bowl design and have printed it up themselves if they have access to a 3D printer. Okay, it's coming up nicely. Chiseled Face is a good performer. I'm really happy with them. One of my favorite things about Chiseled Face is their interesting scents. Midnight Stag, Sherlock, some of my favorites. But then they also do crazy stuff like Pine Tar and Gearhead. And they do normal stuff too, like there's a tea scent. They have a orange and spice. So they do some interesting things, and they put their scent strength right around the mid-range where a lot of vendors don't, and they keep it kind of mild. So I'm really grateful for Chiseled Face for giving us some nice, enjoyable, strong scents that we can just smell. Not a problem to smell it while you're shaving. I'm going to go ahead and put another teaspoon in, so now we've got 2. And then if I don't feel like the lather is dense enough or quantity enough, I can always go back to the puck, put a little bit more soap on the brush. Now this brush has a lot of splay, as you would assume. So my big bowl here comes in handy. This is the extra large version of the computer files that you'll be able to download if you're interested in that. I got this brush in a soap lot purchase, and I really was opened, my eyes were open to so many new things when I bought that box. And Reef Point soaps, I was able to try their espresso. I got this brush. It was my first Omega. It was also my first one with this really awesome handle. It's a big handle, feels good. And I thought, wow, this is ergonomic and comfortable. I also got my first Kent brush in that box. Now the lather here is looking pretty good. Chiseled Face is not an elite level soap, but it's really good. To me, what's the difference? If you get an enjoyable shave, that's really all that matters. And so that's why I enjoy using it. Slick, not really too buttery slick. So this could be a little too thin. So we'll just see. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's thicken this up a little bit. Kind of pull off some of the soap from the side of the knot there. Go back to the tub. And just, let's do 10 more seconds. So 50. We'll go on to the 0 mark, 10 seconds. Now we've added a good bit of soap into the mix now, so I'm going to put in ½ teaspoon of water. Otherwise, I think it'll be a little too dry. Then I mix up the bottom part, and then I start bringing down the sides incorporate it with everything. What a great scent. Definitely would not get tired of this scent. I believe if I was stuck somewhere for a long time and I had tubs of this, I'd be a happy camper. It's interesting. It's not overwhelming. It's got some links to some established favorite genres, you know, that sort of thing. So, all right, I think we're good. Let's take a feel. Yeah, that's a little slicker. I mean, a little bit creamier. I think we'll be good. Now to get my face wet. Maybe a 20-hour growth is what we're working on today. Not quite a whole day. We've got 2½ teaspoons of water in and 40-second load with this brush. One of my normal brushes with a shorter loft, probably just a 30-second load would be fine. All right, put a little water on my face. And so this is not prickly or pokey. Those long bristles kind of help it to not have an intrusive type of backbone. It's still kind of scrubby. And it's not an old bore brush, and so the tips still have a good bit of splitting to do. And while I sometimes feel this knot is just too big, I am interested in keeping it around and seeing how the tips split and seeing what a huge knot feels like when the tips split like that. And one nice thing, the fan knots, like this shape, sometimes they don't lay down what I just did, this final layer here. They don't lay it down as easily and nicely because of their bristle shape. They kind of have that corner, whereas this can just lay flat, and it's real easy to put down a kind of thick, relatively thick layer of the lather. I like that a lot. Okay, let's grab this razor, go at it. 95 barber pole handle. Definitely can feel the edge, but it's still, with this blade, it's comfortable. Definitely not a bother. And I'm holding it loosely, kind of holding it all in one area here in the center part of the handle, because I want that razor to be able to move and glide over my skin and not have any problems. The timeless razors have a great channel under the blade edge for the hair and stuff to hair and soap to go, and then it's got outlets underneath, so that is nice. It's not going to get clogged up. So far, I like this blade in this. It's not super smooth, but this is not a mild razor. I mean, some people who have really tough skin and stuff may consider it kind of mild, but I think your average person doesn't. I was a little scared based on some of the reviews I read about this gap, but then when I got it, it was fine. So, all right, let's rinse this away. All right, load up the brush for more. Yeah, we're gonna have plenty of soap. It's possible I may not have needed to even go back that other 10 seconds. The additional 10 seconds. Nice massagey feel. Very comfortable. I wouldn't be upset if this was my brush for an extended period of time. I mean, it's big. I don't have as much maneuvering room with it, you know, but comfortable. Gets the job done. I love the way it lays down lather. Now with some soap bases, the look of this kind of thing where there are lumps means I haven't had enough water in that lather. But this one, I think it's probably about right. A little bit more of a higher structure soap than some others. Wonderful scent. Scent strength on this one is nice and high. Maybe a 6, something like that. 6 out of 10. It's rare these days that I award such a high number. So many makers are trying to make sure they don't offend people's sensitivities. Stronger scents and higher concentrations of oils can mess with people's skin problems. Southern Witchcrafts is another soap maker that produces similar strength soaps. I'm really happy about those as well. And no, they're not a bunch of witches. All right, let's rinse this away. Yeah, this lather is great. The first pass rinse, not as slick, probably because my natural oils hadn't been washed off my face yet. It's typical. This rinse, creamy, felt great. Really happy with it. So I believe that this mix is kind of where I like it. Let me show it to you. So it does stand up on its own a little bit. Let's see how it drops. Yeah, see, they're not long. The The peaks are not long. It just kind of separates and drops pretty quickly. Holds its own shape pretty well. So this one's a little higher structure than usual for me. Some soaps are just that way. So Grumatorium are also the folks that do Tiki Bar. They do the Chiseled face line, and they also do the created the Stubble Buster line a little while back to be good entry level soaps. And I was mentioning earlier that some people don't have very intense scent strength, and that's what they did with the Stubble Buster soaps. They're almost unscented. And so that's to appeal to a certain group. And so if you like the stronger scents, head toward the Chiseled face line. If you like very mild scents, go for the Stubble Buster line. They both perform really well. I'd say the Stubble Buster may actually perform a little better, but I'll take the scents and the strength of the scent with the Chiseled face line any day. I bought one, I think the Captain by Tiki Bar, and it's a good performer too. It's enjoyable. I like it too. All right. Nice, slick, creamy soap. Like I said, it's not buttery smooth like the Sterling. Does this have tallow in it? It's got aloe vera juice in it. It does have beef tallow. Interesting. Coconut oil, castor oil, glycerin, mango butter, avocado oil, silk powder. Now this is old labeling. There's definitely a newer bit of labeling. I don't know if they switched bases at the same time. I don't know if newer labeling means a new base with this company. Cross grain again. So this blade is a nice match for this razor for me. Kind of helps to tame the 95's more aggressive nature. Third pass, I'm going to go in this direction with this my trouble spot area. And now normal kind of cross grain directions on my neck and the other areas here. And kind of I tilt my chin up, give my skin just a little bit of stretch. Stretch too much and you'll get ingrown hairs because you'll cut the hairs too close. I mean, it's possible. It's not guaranteed that you'll get them. I find the angle for these timeless razors to be pretty intuitive. You just listen and feel and get a good cutting sound, and it's not a super loud razor. Oh, that's a great cut. That just looks really nice. I'm going to rinse to make sure. Sometimes I'm fooled a little bit. I'm going to do that now. Really happy with this soap just because that enjoyable scent strength, and like I said earlier, it's not a top tier base. It's probably not even as good as Sterling, but the scent, and it's still good. It reminds me of years ago when I would read motorcycle magazines and they would take the latest super bikes from the 4 big Japanese makers and they'd take them out and just put them through some paces, and the article was just focused on the nuances and the differences between them, and basically if you wanted to go fast and have a lot of fun, you could pick any one of the 4, and that's kind of how soaps are. Now the article would talk about all the differences, and I mean that would be the content of the article, but in the end they were all fun, they were all enjoyable. And that's what we have here. It may not be top tier, it may not even be a notch down, but it's a good soap that I enjoyed using. Provided nice glide for my razor. Rinses away pretty easily. There are some nice fatty buttery soaps that don't rinse away as easily. I kind of enjoy that a little bit, but but I also like the convenience of quick rinses. But nice slickness on my face as I was rinsing away. Right now I'm not experiencing any dryness or tightness of the face, so I could walk away from this shave without any post-shave products at all. But the one I have on hand is Seville. And this is the formula that came with the glissant-based soaps. I don't remember the name of this particular formula. But it's another barbershop scent. Seville is one from Barrister and Mann that I really enjoy as well. All right, so just throw a little bit on my face. And Barrister and Mann is one of those that is nice because it's got the scent, but it's also got good skin food for you. I'm getting stung a little bit, and so we know there's some alcohol in there. Nice. And right immediately you're going to smell the alcohol, and wait a little bit to kind of let that dry off, burn off, and then you can pick up. And I'm starting to find a little bit of the citrus that's jumping out right away. Some post shaves will tell a story. Something will come up and be the first thing to start evaporating and kind of touch your nose, and then as that leaves, the next type of ingredient, the next fragrance can come up and be the next step. And then as that one evaporates, and then a lot of times you'll have the base notes after that, the sweeter, smoother things like sandalwood or cedar, vetiver, oak moss, those sort of things to anchor it and be the end of it. And so sometimes that can happen. Shave feels great. Little inspection here. Yep, you can tell that was a nice, efficient razor, not mild for my skin at least. It did a really good job with the Wilkinson sword. There are probably other blades that are sharper and cut a little easier, but they might have a little bit more of an aggressive touch to them. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a good blade for this razor for me. The 95 Gap Timeless. This is the stainless steel version. And the Wilkinson sword, the Indian version, and it's only had one use on it, so now it's got two. And I showed you how much soap we had left. This is probably enough for 2 or 3 passes, which is cool. Maybe I didn't need to do that extra 10 seconds, like I said. And I told you the 2.5 teaspoons of water is what it took to make this one. So I'm going to clean up. The Seville is definitely a more traditional barbershop. It doesn't quite have that leathery western note to it. But obviously they're both barbershops at their core, and so they do go really well together. Yeah, that Seville is just an excellent blend. The different notes are coming together in a way that makes it hard to pull them out individually. So they're becoming something greater than the sum of their parts, as the saying goes. So I just didn't appreciate the barbershops early on in my wet shaving journey. When I was first learning about them, I liked the Sherlock and the Midnight Stag type of scents that had a lot of character, heaviness to them. But then as you use those, sometimes you may tend to start to appreciate something a little more mild, a little more soft-spoken, unassuming, and so I think barbershops are they're a great link to the past as well. There's a historical vibe to the barbershops. Now, some of them may lean a little too powdery or floral for me, and that's all right. But I'm starting to enjoy a lot of them, and especially the ones that are not that. They don't have those dominant notes to them. They can be supporting elements, and so I really enjoy the scent on these. The razor and blade were terrific. The brush was nice. This brush I don't care quite as much about because of its long bristles. So you know what I did? Another break-in trick for borers that I've heard online, and I've tried it, and it really helps the tips to split. I strop it just a little bit on the towel. I still want to have some moisture on the bristles. Just take a hair dryer to it. I use a lower heat setting and a lower airspeed setting, and we've just got lots of nice split tips here, and I think it really helps to get these bristles to break in. And split means a softer shave next time. My other Omega is just the 198. The bristles are just different. These much softer, much less backbone. The other one is being a real chore to break in, but this one not so much. And this is the Pro 48, and I believe 148 then is the designation for it. And yeah, like this handle, it does get a little tough to hold on to when it's slippery, but you can just rinse it off. It is kind of hollow and probably plastic. I don't think it's aluminum. See, we've got a little seam right there. But it looks nice, feels good ergonomically for my hand. I mostly hold it like this, but this sloped area up here is made so that you could tuck it into the pad of your hand and use it that way too. Very common hand position for that. All right, there we go. Excellent shave for the Lather Games Barbershop. What a good idea to make a day for that. It's a strong part of our history as shavers, and a really enjoyable part of the scent profile too. All right, now you take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and we'll see you next time.